One day, me and Amit, we were standing in the balcony of our house and house come office, and we saw 40-50 people are coming by. हमें लगा कोई धरना हो रहा होगा कहीं पे आजू बाजू में. 30-40 सेकंड में दिखा रहे हैं तो हमारे घर में घुस गए. They are trying to barge in, they are trying to break computers. We went down. And we realized they were brokers. They were brokers.
Akhil, thank you for taking all the time to do this. We're really looking forward to this conversation. We've written earlier about NoBroker, and it's amazing to speak to someone who started the journey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and pleasure always to speak about NoBroker for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Would love to begin with a little bit on your journey. How you started out in life, where are you from? Any early influences that pushed you in the direction of starting a company? Could you talk us through that?
Sure. Okay, so let me start from where I am. So I am from Kota in Rajasthan, and the best part is I am born and brought up here. So I never came to Kota for the coaching bit of it. So being here since my childhood, I have been a person who has always stick to a place. So like I got into a school in nursery, I passed out in 12th. Then I went to IIT Bombay, I was there. Then after that, I joined Oracle. I was working there for a longer time. So that's how the journey started. So being, and so I'm basically from business family. So my father, my brother, they are all businessmen. And that time, way back in 2099, 2000, basically after 10th, we started looking out what should we do. And that's when that PMT, CPMT, PET used to be there. And I wondered why there is nothing called CPET. And that's how that journey of finding JEE and IIT started. Then somebody told that there is a college called IIT. And I really didn't know about anything called IIT by that time. And there is a joint entrance exam, which you crack. And that's the most prestigious exam which you can crack in India in engineering. And that's how we started. Got into IIT Bombay, started with chemical engineering. And the whole idea of going to IIT Bombay was that I wanted to be in metro. So basically I was around 900 odd rank, and just to be in metro, I said, okay, I'll take a 5-year dual degree program. And I think that was the best decision of my life, because I got to spend 5 years in the college. I think that's one thing which everybody misses. So got there, and I think the way the curriculum of IITs is designed, that had a lot of influence in terms of what I do right now. Correct? At IIT Bombay, and I'm sure all other IITs also. I'm not sure if you're also from IIT.
I'm from IIT Bombay.
Perfect. So I think then you'll be able to. So I was in Hostel 3. Okay. Okay. So then Chichore is there.
Yes.
So yeah. So as soon as you get in there, our time, there used to be a lot of focus on sports GC, cult GC, and the wing culture and the hostel culture was so deep rooted that you make a family of around 400, 450 people who are living in that particular hostel, and then 35, 40, 50 people who live in the wing. And then the kind of opportunities which are being given to you, like you, I went and became mess secretary. Then I became mess counselor. And then even as a mess counselor, getting a gala dinner organized, and even if 5% of the people appreciate you, that itself was an achievement, because food is something which always people crib about. And then I became general secretary. And one thing which I realized was that I love doing something which makes people happy. Like if I'm doing something and somebody is happy about it, that is good enough for me. And that was there in my mind. And so I was general secretary, passed out from IIT. And what happened from that 2000 to 2005 time was that internet was becoming big, correct? 2002 or 1 is the time when IIT Bombay got fiber connection of internet in each room. Just think, I think how advanced it was at that point of time, that giving free internet connection at everybody's room, that was also fiber. And that's when we bought computer. And when we used to come back to our hometown during summer breaks and all, we had to book train tickets, correct? So what we used to do, Gandhinagar jao, Kanjurmarg jao, pick a concession form, go to CST, book the tickets. And it was a nightmare, correct? 2 months pehle you have to open and all. Similarly, when we used to go for movies, there was a theater called Ghatkopar mein Shreyas. तो उस थिएटर पे जाते थे, बाहर जाके खड़े हो जाते, वहां पे हाउसफुल लगा रहता था, बट पास में एक टाउट खड़ा रहता था, 35 का 70, 35 का 70, दैट्स हाउ वी यूज्ड टू बुक टिकट. But by 2004, what happened and what we saw was that there are websites which have disintermediated these people, correct? Like for air tickets, train tickets, IRCTC was there, MakeMyTrip was there, BookMyShow came up at that point of time. You could not only choose the theater, but you can also choose the seat. That itself was like a wonderful thing for me. So that was there something in my mind. And after that, I passed out, started working with Oracle. And talking about the wing culture, so because when we got into the senior wings, we were like mixed. We were like what, maybe four sophomore, second year guys, then third year, fourth year, fifth year guys. And my next door neighbor was my co-founder, Saurabh Garg. So I was in 339, he was in 338. He was again chemical engineering. So we used to talk. So Saurabh I know from 2000, since 2000 I know, because we were in the same hostel. So then he passed out, he went to IIM Ahmedabad, he used to come back. When I moved to Bangalore, he was running his startup. He used to come to Bangalore, we used to speak. And I think after 5, 7, 8 years of corporate life, I was getting bored and I was thinking whether I should do MBA, or Oracle wanted me to move to US. What should I do? And that's when I was talking to Saurabh, and Saurabh said, ये सब क्या करना है? Let's do a startup. I said, okay. And then he said, let's make something in real estate. अगर रोटी कपड़ा मकान देखो, बाकी सब जगह काम हुआ है, but in real estate there is no disintermediation which has happened. And he said, if we can make a C2C platform here. And it sounds so logical, because by then I had got married. For getting my house, once I got married, me and my wife, that time fiance, we used to roam around on a bike, go to all buildings, ask for watchman boss, किसी owner का number हो तो वो दे दो, because I never felt comfortable paying 20,000-30,000 rupees as a brokerage. Because then even I tried with brokers, and when ब्रोकर से बोलो भैया 2 BHK दिला दो, तो they'll take you to the Koramangala, some shady place, छत के ऊपर एक 2 BHK बना हुआ है, and it's like a single house, and they will try to sell that particular thing to you. I got a house without a broker, luckily, and I was staying there. And then when Saurabh told me that if we can make platform like this, I think that BookMyShow and MakeMyTrip example which I gave, that flashed in my mind. Okay, this is something which can be done. This is really powerful, and this is the power of internet. And that is how in 2013 August we decided, okay, let's give it a try. And then Amit, who is sort of batchmate from Ahmedabad, he also joined us at that point of time. So we were 3 guys. I used to take care of technology and product. I used to write codes. Monday to Thursday, I had a deal with my manager. I'll come to office. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll work from home. Thursday evening till Sunday night, I used to just write code of NoBroker. And one thing which I thought was, if not anything, I'll learn. Maybe it will not work. I'll fail, but I'll fail after learning. So that was the idea with which we started. My wife was expecting. So I think that was a crucial time. But my wife said, okay, I'm going back to hometown, and we'll have a delivery there. So then I got that 5-6 months free. I was alone at home. I could just write code. I could just do whatever I wanted to do. And that is how by March 2014, we had product ready. And 1st March of 2014, we went live. So this is how NoBroker started, and then the journey started.
Fascinating. And, it's always good to talk to an alum in a close by hostel. Actually, I remember there was one time where I got caught in S3 mess because I'd gone with my friends to eat there, but H4 mess was horrible.
And S3 was best.
So it was bad. I think I was probably like a decade after you.
Okay.
Plus, so a lot of the things that you mentioned, they probably weren't there by the time I joined college.
Yeah.
So it's always good to hear of these stories and the origin of a company. And you never know, you never realize that your hostel neighbor becomes your co-founder, and you have this like really long relationship with them. But I think the comfort that is there as neighbors in hostel is probably the most, because you've seen the person completely transparently, how they are. I think as when we are young, we don't have too much of this facade.
Yeah, correct.
Nothing. So you truly know the other person, and I think that's why you are able to trust so much. Fascinating. So, you picked up this idea, and real estate, by the way, you would know it much better than everyone, is like probably the worst industry to get into as an outsider. What were early days like? Did you struggle? Did you face resistance? Your name was NoBroker, which means like you were going to get rid of one of the most powerful stakeholders in the ecosystem. How was that?
So I think sometimes not knowing much is blessing in disguise. Correct?
Right.
So here me and Saurabh thought, let's do it. I had never done a startup. I didn't know how exactly startup works. Saurabh was running a chain of spa. So I had complete faith on him. Amit also joined us. And we thought that Saurabh is the guru here. He'll tell us everything what he knows. And when we like go back on hindsight and we see, अच्छा सौरभ ने ये बोला था, बोलते थे क्या बेवकूफी थी यार, ये वाली चीज हमने कैसे कर ली? तो even he didn't know, but we thought he knows. So I think there was a blind trust that whatever Saurabh will say, this is the way things will work. So the methodology wise, how exactly you raise funds and all. So we started, and by April, May, started getting a lot of good traction. And obviously it makes sense, correct? 25-30 हजार रुपए किसी के बच रहे हैं, तो हम क्या करते थे, वी यूज्ड टू गो आउट ऑन द स्ट्रीट. घर के बाहर टू लेट बोर्ड लगा रहता है, उसका फोटो लाते थे, घर पे फोन आते थे, फोन करते थे ओनर को, सर विल गेट योर प्रॉपर्टी रेंटेड फॉर फ्री and there is no charge to list this property on this portal, and we are coming up with new portal. Nobody in the world will say no. We never got a rejection on that particular thing. एक आध बार कस्टमर जरूर गुस्सा हो गया कि यार कॉल क्यों किया, but nobody rejected. And that's how we started getting supply. And once we got the supply, we got a lot of demand via Facebook and all other advertisement platforms what we used. Acha traction tha. We used to go to, so I'm just trying to answer the kind of challenges. So there are 2-3. So one is when we went to VCs. VCs को बताया तो बोले अरे बहुत बढ़िया, this really good traction and all those things. And एक मीटिंग, 2 मीटिंग, अच्छा ब्रोकर कैसे एलिमिनेट करते हो, and we were naive to tell them everything whatever is there. तो फिर बोलते 2 मीटिंग 3 मीटिंग हुए, फिर बोलेंगे ऐसा यूएस में हुआ है क्या? Is there something which is there in the West? And this is like मैं saying was West में तो प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं. Actually West में भी हमने फिर स्टडी किया, तो then we realized कि यार वेस्ट में तो सब कुछ ही regularized है. Broker is an entity which is regulated entity. They have to do certification. They are liable for the service what they are providing. इंडिया में तो क्या है, आपको पैसा लगे कोई भाग जाएगा, दूध वाला और बेकरी वाला, everybody is a broker. We explained. People will say,
That's awesome.
Everyone's a broker. And I can't name the VCs, but we will say, बोले यार तो ये क्या कोई करेगा नहीं क्या? एक्चुअली एक दो बार हमने कहा कि इंडिया की प्रॉब्लम इंडिया में सॉल्व नहीं हो सकती है. बोले नहीं, बट देन you know how many prop techs are there, and the way you introduce that the toughest sector to be there, people are trying to solve the problem. And when I count the number of real estate prop tech players were there, classifieds were there at that point of time, I think it's 13 or 14. And India में 2013 में handful of VCs थे, correct?
Right.
7-8 VCs थे. Everybody had taken a bet somewhere. Everybody had burned their finger. So once bitten, twice shy वाला case था, तो nobody was ready to do that particular thing. फिर भी hard work, जो भी blessing, disguise, luck, 2-3 महीनों में मैं तैयार कर लिया. Correct? By September 2014, we used to have terrible Wednesdays. So typically on Wednesdays, VCs used to say no, or never say no. They'll say, okay, अभी थोड़ा देखते हैं, let's have some more traction. So Wednesdays we were very scared. तो एक बार हुआ कि यार अब तो हो गया, 3 VC आने वाले हैं अपने पास में, and we said अब we will choose. And then we had read all those blogs, how do you get the best deal. And we were like 3 of us, we were saying okay, इसको ये मना कर देंगे, इसने हमको ऐसे बदतमीजी से बात करी थी, इसको तो बिल्कुल नहीं लेंगे, and all those things. The next day morning we realized, and the day we got up, we realized that housing raised $100 million from SoftBank. तो जहां 3 टर्म शीट आने वाली थी, 2 ने तो फोन उठाना बंद कर दिया, एक ने फोन करके बोला आई थिंक दिस इज नॉट द राइट टाइम एंड आई थिंक दिस इंडस्ट्री इज बीइंग टेकन एंड गुड. And this was like September. So Saurabh's birthday happens to be on 24th August. Mine is 10th September. Amit's is 18th September. All 3 are Virgos. All of it started by, I think, July end से start हुआ था. तो by August mid, we're saying अब कुछ हो जाएगा. सौरभ आपकी बर्थडे पे टर्म शीट आ जाएगी. सौरभ की भी नहीं आएगी, अखिल तेरे पे आ जाएगी. अरे अमित आपके पे आ जाएगी. कहीं पे कुछ नहीं हुआ. अब चलो. And by that time, Amit had quit job. I was still working in Oracle. Saurabh, and he was an entrepreneur, and he was saying, क्या करें? चलो करते हैं यार, कोशिश करते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा. By December mid, then पीछे पड़े रहे हम लोग, तो सैफ के बहुत पीछे पड़े. So then there was Mukul, Rohit, and Mayank, who is on the board now. In December mid, they said, okay, we want to give a term sheet to you. And that's when जैसे ही term sheet आई, आधे घंटे में हमने sign करके, we didn't even read what is there on that particular term sheet. Again, Saurabh said,
this is not advice you should be taking.
And that's why I'm saying, नहीं, उन्होंने वही, I think people say now, if any VC is pressurizing you, then they are in hurry, correct, to close it. They send the term sheet, 30 minutes में आप हमें sign करके दो, या 1 घंटे में या 2 घंटे में. हमने फटाफट से सड़क पे थे हम लोग, कोरमंगला में प्रिंटो के आसपास थे, कहीं गली में घुस के प्रिंट आउट लिया, फटाफट साइन किया, उनको भेज दिया. अब ठीक है, अब शांति है. Yeah, obviously, I think, but SAF guys are like really good. So even if something was there which we didn't like, we were able to remove it later. So that's how it started. In February 2015, by the time we got money, I said, "Ab office setup करना है." And you remember, like August 2013 से February 2015, almost 14-15 महीने हो गए. जितनी savings थी सब जला दी. मेरे बेटी हो गई, अमित के बेटा हो गया. Amit Agrawal, he was also expecting his second kid, correct? So and Amit has quit the job. Priyanka was working. मैंने चलो ठीक है, अब मजा आएगा, पैसा आ गया. $3 million. $3 million तब बंदा, it was such a big amount.
Yeah, would have been huge. Like
so हाँ, but 1 million पहले दिया था, 2 million बाद में दिया था, वो भी हमें बाद में समझ में आया था. तो हमने ऑफिस सेटअप करते. ऑफिस कहाँ लेंगे? तो यार यूएस में ना स्टार्टअप्स गैराज के अंदर होते हैं. वी विल नॉट गो टू कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग. लेट्स टेक अ बंगलो. वेंट टू HSR, फाउंड अ हाउस, स्टैंडअलोन हाउस, 23rd क्रॉस में हमने वो ले लिया. एंड वी टुक दैट पर्टिकुलर हाउस. कोई बाउंड्री भी नहीं है उस घर में. इफ यू गाइस गो देयर, आई डोंट नो व्हाई ओनर हैज नेवर पुट अ बाउंड्री देयर. टुक अ हाउस, सेट इट अप, सब बढ़िया चलने लगा. टेबल्स वेबल्स लेके आए, उस पर से पन्नी वन्नी निकालना, बहुत मतलब वी हैव डन एवरीथिंग. बट झाड़ू वाड़ू करके साफ करना कि कल से एम्प्लॉइज आएंगे ऑफिस के अंदर, बड़ा मजा आया. स्टार्टेड, everything was good. Started doing marketing, started getting a lot of traction again. One fine day, and this is the second challenge which I'm talking about. So first was like getting a VC to fund you. One fine day, and by the way, there was a VC in this process who called us and he said, "We want to fund you, but we have one request." We said, "What?" "Change your name. Don't keep it NoBroker, because we feel that you may have to work with brokers someday." And we said, "Boss, this is the rationale. We will never work with brokers. No, if you will change the name, then we are ready to pay you money. We'll give you $1 million." He said, "Okay, no, that's not possible. We won't be able to do it." There was a VC who said, "घर कौन किराए पे देता है? हमारे तो बॉम्बे में 4 घर हैं, हम तो किराए पे नहीं देते हैं. तो ये इसमें कहाँ कौन बिजनेस है? घर तो कोई किराए पे नहीं देता है." तो we have like, these are like all those anecdotes from the VC conversation. So cut short, coming back to August 2015, one day me and Amit, we were standing in the balcony of our house and house come office, and we saw 40-50 people are coming by. हमें लगा कोई धरना हो रहा होगा कहीं पे आजू बाजू में. 30-40 सेकंड में दिखा रहे हैं तो हमारे घर में घुस गए. They are trying to barge in, they are trying to break computers. We went down. They were brokers. They were brokers, and they got, because we started doing advertisement, no parking, no broker. हमारा पहला ATL ब्रांडिंग चालू हो गया था, रेडियो पे एड्स आने लग गए थे. गुस्सा हो गए. What are you doing? And they wanted to bash us. हम लोग बाहर आए, ऐसे झापड़ उड़ रहे हैं, एक गाल के पास से निकल गया, पुलिस को कॉल किया, पुलिस की हौसला आई, वो हमें बिठा के ले गई वैन के अंदर, as if we have committed some mistake. When we reached there, the SI was very, very smart. He scolded brokers like anything, boss. Like, does it mean that all the shop owners should start pelting stones at Flipkart office, and somebody should throw a stone at Uber and all those things? So he could explain that, and that also gave us some kind of a confidence. Boss, the मड़ी वाला पुलिस स्टेशन में जाना और वहां पे बैठना, it was scary, यार. It was scary, and you don't even know the language. None of us knew Kannada. And वहां से जैसे जैसे सेटल हुआ, बाहर आया, पर पुलिस ने बोल दिया, "You cannot use this office. This is a house and this is not a commercial place." So suddenly we were out of office, and our team has grown to around 100 plus people at that point of time, including customer support. We were 10-15 people in engineering. Evening, we don't know what will we do tomorrow. And when we had the call recordings, जहाँ पे लोग हमें brokers फोन कर रहे हैं, बोले अगर कल आप ऑफिस में आए तो हम आपको मार देंगे, हम आपको ये कर देंगे. We were being threatened like anything. But people in startup fraternity, so there's a guy called Tanuj Mendiratta. He used to run Loan Circle. He said, आप मेरा एक मेरे विला में जहाँ पे वो अपना ऑफिस चलाता है, एक रूम खाली है, आप वहां पे ले लो. And then I think Abhishek from Traction, he gave us his co-working space जहाँ पे हमने हमारा we moved our customer support there. But for 2 months, whole of the technology and product team, they sat on the floor. We didn't have table. We were just using ACT wireless internet, and we just worked from there, and we released so many products from there. Like, I can't even think of like how people, and never ever I thought that we are not giving anything to our people. We thought we are in a mission. And that time, Teru Sato, who was our BNext founder and who was our investor, he called us and he told that this is the proof that you guys are really doing some disruption. And by that time, we started getting a lot of confidence when none of the employee from that particular day quit. Everybody was there with us, even after a week, 2 week, 3 week. That's how we started getting a lot of confidence. And then we got into the commercial office, which we have now, like much bigger office, lot of security, lot of CCTV cameras, no branding. You will not know, you will never see NoBroker board outside. On Google, our address is still the old address. So if you have to come to our office, you need to WhatsApp us and then we'll give you the location until you know somebody who works in our office. So I think these two things, no, one is, so perseverance obviously plays a lot of role, but I also tell a lot of young people that this is a very good story, what we are telling you. And none of it is like, not even 0.5% is added as a mirch masala to this particular thing. But I think not knowing much, that has worked as a blessing in disguise for sure. Having perseverance, yes, you need a lot of perseverance, a lot of patience. But only when you have a great idea, when you really know that this is a very big industry, very big TAM, which you are trying to solve. And I think that was one good thing which was there with us. Well, now, just doing something just because you feel that this is good, no, without any market validation, that may not be right. So we had a lot of market validation in terms of the customer success. A lot of customers wrote to us. A lot of customers called us after that particular attack when it was in media, saying that we are there with you. Let us know how can we help you and all. So I think that was the thing. That's how started, and a couple of things which I want to share now.
That is an incredible story. And with that, I want to dive into our topic for this week, which is digitizing Indian real estate. You touched on this a bit, but for our listeners, if you can summarize, what was that problem that you were really solving for your customers? What was the, like, if you could describe in a sentence, what's the problem statement?
Yeah, so I think the biggest problem is the intermediation cost. And the cost of intermediation corresponding to the value which is being provided in terms of the cost which you pay.
Yeah.
So for a rental house, you pay 1 month brokerage, tenant pays 1 month, owner pays 1 month. Typically contract is 11 months, 2 by 11 is 18%, 17.7%. For buy sell, it's 2 to 3% from each side, or it goes anywhere between 4 to 6% of the transaction value. Correct. And if you see the broker in India, what they do is they'll connect you. Agar Aviral and Mazin are looking for a house and I am a broker, Aviral mere paas aaya and I knew Mazin has a house, I'll take you to Mazin. I'll say, okay, and I'll stand. You guys speak. And when you guys are done speaking and you say, Acha, Mazin, Aviral says, okay, Mazin, I'll give you the house and all those things, 22,000 rupees. I'll say, okay, boss, give me 44,000 rupees for this particular thing. No receipt, no receipt. He doesn't pay tax on that particular thing. He's not liable for anything. Let's say Mazin doesn't pay rent or Aviral doesn't pay rent to Mazin. There's no liability, correct? Aviral breaks anything, there's no liability. And in cities like Mumbai, in Maharashtra, in many of the cities, after 11 months, I'll come back again and I'll say, boss, give me the brokerage. Even when you say, I know Aviral, I'm continuing, he'll say, no, you'll have to pay the brokerage, otherwise we'll make your life hell. And I think that was the single biggest problem. That with so much of digitization, with the internet available at disposal, why do we pay such high intermediation cost? And there's no, in India, there's no broker chain, correct? There's no brand which is being there. There's no professionalism. So that is one of the, and three of us, me, Amit, and Saurabh, three of us faced issues with broker. So I think when Saurabh pitched this idea, I think three of us were in our heart ready that we need to solve this particular problem, and that is how it started.
And I think it's a problem that a lot of people can relate to and a lot of people have experienced. Like you said, I know I've experienced it myself trying to buy a house in Bombay, and, like working with the broker has been a pain. But why do you think, and you mentioned this as well, that when you started, there were several other companies working on the space. Why do you think it was so difficult? And what did you guys do differently from the people that tried to do this before you?
So all those companies before us, they were like version 1.0 of real estate PropTech, correct? All of them made classifieds. They were broker classifieds. They were getting brokers. So see, what NoBroker has done is it has created a C2C marketplace. I am making a marketplace where I need supply, I need demand. And until I keep the equilibrium, one of the party will be unhappy, and then my platform will break. With all these classified platforms, what happened is they got brokers. It's like B2B kind of a thing. I'll go and I'll speak to 10,000 brokers. They'll get the supply. I just have to get the demand. But the transaction was always moving out of the platform. None of these platforms knew that kitne pe deal close hua, how much is the rent which is being paid, whether the deal is being closed or not, and all those things. So I think the way we took was, we said we'll remove the most notorious element of this particular transaction, which is the broker. And once we have removed it, only genuine parties will be there on the platform. And Mazin and Aviral, if they meet on NoBroker, and none of them is a broker, they will either do the deal or they will not do the deal. They will not linger around. They will not do any false promises. Aviral will not send any pictures which are not belonging to his house. And when Mazin comes there, he'll not say, "Arshad sir, ye ghar to aaj chala gaya, main aapko aur kuch dikha deta hu." That is the primary difference between all those PropTech platforms vis-a-vis NoBroker.
And you mentioned this as well. Your name was NoBroker. You're going head to head with brokers. You actually had brokers show up at your house. Did you really think about it at some point? Was it kind of your thesis from day one? We're not going to work with brokers, and has that evolved, or does that continue to be the kind of mantra?
Yeah, so Saurabh bought this domain way back in 2007. We started in 2013. So, and the way we, three of us, were convinced, we always said that we will never going to work with broker. We need a technology platform. See, if a extremely good and extremely smart broker exists, he will do a great in a hyper local area, correct? Because in his mind, he has everything. He knows kaun se ghar available hai, what price it was sold, how exactly rent has moved, how exactly price has moved, whether Mazin will like this particular house or not. That's in brain. That's the heuristics, correct? We said whatever a broker mind, if a great broker exists, can done, why can't we do it with technology? And that is why from day zero, we focused on data and technology. We said we'll make NoBroker brain, which will be unbiased, which will never have this thing in mind कि अरे यार Mazin को मैं 25 नहीं 30,000 वाला घर दिला देता हूँ तो मुझे 30,000 रुपए ब्रोकरेज मिल जाएगी. It will work in most democratic way to help the customers, both the parties, and do the deal. And we said we'll do it with the technology. And that is why we said, okay, we'll stick to NoBroker, whether it works or not. It will always be without broker, hence the name NoBroker.
And so with this new model, no brokerage fee, what is your business model? How do you guys go about?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is one question what people say, aap free pe kar dete ho, how do you make money? Correct. And we make money. See, I'll ask you a question. For a 20,000 rupees house, when you pay 40,000 rupees as a brokerage to broker, do you really think that much of the work, that much of the value that broker has provided, even if it is a good broker?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. One is like that cost of intermediation has always been atrociously high.
Yeah.
So what we say is, with technology, when we are doing it, because we don't have feet on street, we have 0 feet on street. It's only machines which are working for us. We will bring down the cost of transaction. So for us, around 4-5% of the customers pay. Everybody else is free. And not everybody values, not everybody can always sit on NoBroker platform and look for the houses, correct? You, me, Aviral are in this meeting. Let's say you are looking for a house. So if I give you a service where I say, I have a phone relationship manager, you take this 3,000 rupees plan from me. This guy will take, this machine will take requirements from you. He will set up the recommendations. You will get recommendations on a premium app for you where you can accept, reject. You can say, I'm available at this point of time. This phone relationship manager will set up a call with your meeting with the owner and will say, boss, this Saturday, Sunday, आपको ये 4 घर देखने हैं. आप जाके देख के आ जाओ, then I'll help you close this particular deal without going around with you. कोई नहीं जाता ब्रोकर के स्कूटर पे बैठे, कोई नहीं जाता. इनफैक्ट ब्रोकर डजंट टेक यू ऑन हिज स्कूटर नाउ, ही गोज इन योर कार विद यू. so and to do that, it's not expensive. It's really not expensive. So that's how we have brought down the cost. Plus, during the journey, this is not at the start of the journey. Initially we thought हम rental matchmaking platform बनाएंगे, शादी वादी जैसा इस तरीके का. But we realized that because we have saved so much of money for our customers, either it's free or it's 2,000 rupees instead of 20,000 rupees, we are that trusted brand people were looking for. And so then people started coming and telling us, बॉम्बे में रेंटल एग्रीमेंट कराना एक बड़ा हैसल है, यू हैव टू गो टू सब रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस, इसमें कुछ कर सकते हो, मुझे ब्रोकर के साथ काम करना है. सो वी ऑटोमेटेड दैट पर्टिकुलर पार्ट. Now biometric machine is sent to your house. If you are in US also, then also you can, from there only you can do your house registration, rental agreement registration. People said packers and movers, chalo hum karte hain. Owners, when they started coming back after 11 months, they said, we need to clean the house and paint the house. Can you suggest a painter or cleaner? And if you see this packer and mover, painter, cleaner, all these industries, these are fragmented B2B small industries, and nobody has a platform. All these guys are small businessmen. So we said, again, I'll create another marketplace. On this marketplace, it's a managed marketplace. I'm getting all these businesses. I have the demand. I'll tell the demand that this is the price. I'll not tell you okay, your work will be done by Aviral or it will be done by Mazin. It will be done by NoBroker, because that's the trusted brand what you have. Anything goes wrong, I'm putting my brand in between. I'm going to penalize you, and we created a platform on top of it. And from there, we make money.
And that's an amazing insight. I think once you build consumer trust, you can, go so many different directions with it. You just ask consumers for what they want, and then you kind of build from there. And so just curious, I mean, when we're talking about kind of different directions that we're going in, one of the models that I've heard a lot about and I'm personally quite interested in is fractional ownership of real estate. Is this something that you guys have explored? What are your thoughts about, more broadly, what are your thoughts about the future of real estate ownership?
Yeah, in the cities, like one is you first need a house to live, correct? A lot of people, pre-COVID, the millennials were thinking that they'll not buy the house and all those things, but suddenly people have started realizing so people now realize the value of house. But when people have more disposable income, correct, they want to invest. So I think this fractional ownership is something which is very, very interesting. And because the kind of demand what we have on the platform, we definitely feel that something can be built within NoBroker ecosystem for that particular thing. So that is something which definitely work. Fractional ownership in commercial properties is extremely valuable because the return on your investment is higher, and the piece of that commercial property which you may not be able to buy as an individual, you can buy as a group. So it's a good thing.
Fascinating discussion, Akhil. Kafi maza aa raha hai. And so just wanted to congratulate you. You just like recently became a unicorn publicly. Of course, it must have been in the works for a long time. Very curious to learn more about what your next journey looks like. What does the future hold? Immediate to long-term aspirations for the company.
Sure. So I think NoBroker always has been customer first company. So as I said, we started as a small platform, then we realized home services came in. So if you see NoBroker, now in NoBroker umbrella, there are 4 companies. One is NoBroker core platform, NoBroker home services, NoBroker financial services, and we started a app called NoBrokerhood, which is all about community management. It's like a neighborhood super app. So I think for now, we are investing heavily in all these 4 verticals. We are just in 5-6 cities in India at this point of time. So our aspirations is to be in top 50 cities in India, go deeper in the cities where we are. So we'll be focusing in bringing in depth in the existing cities, expanding to new cities, and expanding these 4 verticals: home services, financial services, which includes rent payment, home loan, and NoBrokerhood app. That is something. And as we are doing it, as we listen from our customers, there's something else which is bothering them or which is exciting enough for us to build, we'll keep on building that particular part as well.
Understand. And any immediate near-term challenges you see for NoBroker?
Hiring.
Hiring.
I think that is one.
Sabka challenger. No, but in general, just wanted to ask you, given you are so plugged in, what's really happening with real estate on the ground, right? We're seeing all this remote work thing, and I'm sure residential movement and movement into larger houses, these kind of trends are happening. People are moving away from offices. How are you seeing that affecting you more specifically?
I think 2-3 things have happened. So one thing, as a NoBroker as a company, because we have these 4 businesses. जब rental कम हुआ, so suddenly, as I was saying, that millennials started realizing the value of their own house. And as you mentioned, from 2 BHK, people want to move to 3 BHK, 4 BHK because wife is working, husband is working, kids are going. So suddenly, there's a huge demand for new houses. The buy-sell activity has gone up tremendously. So we are seeing a lot of action on that particular side, which will continue. So, and if you see real estate with GST, demonetization, and RERA, that was anyways going through a low cycle. So that up cycle is back now. So we feel that next 5-7 years are going to be great. And even from the developer side, you see developers who are sitting on years of inventory. If you would have read reports where people saying like Bombay mein 5 saal ki inventory, 7 saal ki inventory, all of it ready to move in house. Most of it is being sold now. So I think new projects will start coming in. People have realized the value of house. And another thing, good thing which has happened with the COVID, and as you rightly said, that work from anywhere, work from home, and all those things will happen. Yes, I think in India, cities beyond 10, 15 big cities, they will start developing now. So with the smart city thing, what government will also want to do, like why, if you can really work from the city where you have grown up, correct, where you can live, which can be a city in Rajasthan, it can be in Madhya Pradesh, it can be in Uttar Pradesh. So a lot of investment will start happening in that particular cities. So market will open up, and I think there will be many more opportunities to start within buy sell and eventually leading to the rental of the houses.
Understand. Got it. Should be interesting. One final question that we ask all our guests, and which is why we call this Founders Unfiltered. What's one piece of unfiltered feedback you've got as a founder or in your career that really changed the way you looked at things? एकदम brutal, honest, जितना
ब्रूटल ऑनेस्ट तो मैंने शुरू में बता दिया, जो वीसी ने हमें बोला था अपना नाम चेंज कर लो और ब्रोकर ने आके, मतलब आई थिंक वी आर एक्सट्रीमली ऑनेस्ट. आई थिंक दीज आर 2-3 things. One thing, from your friends, like you hear a lot of things. Like when I was starting, a lot of people told me, अरे क्या कर रहे हो, बेवकूफी है. The way everybody thinks ना real estate के अंदर कुछ नहीं होता, तो it may not happen. But I think single biggest मोस्ट ब्रूटल फीडबैक इज दिस ओनली, जहां पे एक भाई साहब ने हमें बोला कि यार नो ब्रोकर नाम छोड़ दो, और हम लोग तो घर करते ही नहीं है, ऐसा तो होता नहीं है, ये लोग तो बेवकूफ हैं, इन लोगों से कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला है. आई थिंक दैट वाज द मोस्ट हार्श थिंग व्हाट वी हैव heard. And otherwise we are not into market that much. 3 of us, we don't believe in like going out chit chatting and all those things. So even if people are talking bad, we are not getting to hear those things. We just hear good things from our customer and solve customer problems only.
All right. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Akhil, for your time. Really love this episode. Wishing you a lot of success and the NoBroker team.
Thank you, Aviral.
Now.